Um, so basically, we've been working on a new version of Roam. As technology changes, we try to update these products, and as you guys have been working with this, some of you for a couple, 3 years, you've seen sort of changes as we add features and things like that. But early this year, we decided to sort of take a completely clean run at the app. And right now, this basically only affects the app, not the computer interface. We do have an update to the computer interface coming, but it'll probably be another month or two. But we really felt like we could take advantage of some capabilities that we've developed in the last year or two to make the app easier to use and easier to learn and faster. And also, it now can operate when you don't have a data signal, when you don't have cell signal. So I wanted to sort of quickly get you guys up to speed on the new one so that hopefully you can start to shift to it. The other decision we made is that we decided not to do an upgrade. You know how when if you have Facebook or something, when they update the app, they just automatically update it, or they ask you if you want to update it, and the old one goes away. And the new one with the updates appears. We felt like this was such a significant difference that we wanted to leave the old app there so that you guys wouldn't have like wake up Monday morning and just have this completely new experience. So you have a choice. You can continue to use the old one, but I would really like you to start to kick the tires on the new one. I think with just a little bit of use, you'll find it a lot easier to work with. So if you don't have it yet in your device, just go and look for, you can search for it in different ways, but Roam or Roam CRM Plus, and you can find it and download it, as you can see on my screen. Now I can sort of show how this works. I have it installed on my phone, and you're looking at my phone. It's not a simulation. And I'm signed in as Floyd or somebody, I think. So I'm going to walk around it as one of you guys, and then I'll actually switch to a different device where I'll show you how to enter material. On your old Roam, you had Find, which you'd go and do an alpha search, and you also had My Accounts, and the two things were sort of separate. Here we've combined both of those in Accounts, so I'm just going to click Accounts, and this is where a lot of the difference is. And so here we can see you can do an alpha search on top like you always could, and we display your accounts here. Now, I didn't pick up a GPS signal quickly, so it was listed alphabetically. So these are all the accounts alphabetically. And if I hit refresh, it should pick up my GPS signal. And it takes a little extra time because I'm in Vermont. So the closest of these accounts to me is almost 1,000 miles away. But the point is that if you were sitting at B&G HVAC and you hit My Accounts, we would display B&G at the top of the list. And then the further away is down on the list. So this is really designed for you guys that are on the road, and if you're making a call, you go to My Accounts. Probably the person who you're sitting with will be at the top of the list. You don't have to scroll to find them or do an alpha search. Now, the other thing that you can see, if I scroll down this list, see how we have the red banner next to the person's name? And for Martinez, we have a black banner. And I think you guys have understood how My Accounts works. If we started with a list of your accounts that you guys worked out with Scott, but then if you call on somebody or you check in at some place, we conditionally put them on your list. The problem with the old system was that if you and Scott didn't sit down and formally put them on the list, it didn't appear on your account list. So what we've done here is we've made it so that the black banners are conditionally people that are on your list, and it works and it's fully integrated otherwise with your account system. So that'll save you some time when you're dealing with those new accounts that maybe you haven't sat down with Scott yet and figured out if it's going to get assigned to you. Does that make sense?
Yep. Yeah.
The other thing is if you hit the icon next to ABC here, it will show not just your accounts, but all accounts. And this is mainly for prospecting purposes. And this is, again, it's displaying based on distance from where I'm sitting, so it looks a little weird here. But if you're in a town and you want to take a look at other businesses that aren't yours, you can hit that icon and it'll display everybody in our database. And our database has a lot of people that aren't currently assigned to someone in your organization. Then you can click on that eye icon and it will basically go and check out the information. Now, this is just a phone book entry, so maybe it is a potential account and you can call on them. If someone in your organization was already connected to them, it would show under connected users.
Oh, okay.
So that you don't get any overlap there. So back to my accounts. So you can see now it did stack me out based on proximity. There's really two ways that you can now interact with the account. The one that you have hopefully gotten used to dealing with my accounts is now this far right icon, the one with the square with a little arrow. And if I touch that, it basically brings up this common activity list. So I think most of you have seen on our old My Account system, if you did this, you didn't have to go all the way into the account to make a phone call or to record a note. So here you can, without drilling all the way into the account, because you just want to get there fast and record something, you can make a phone call. And one thing I would encourage you guys to do, some of you guys are really good about differentiating a substantial phone call from a regular note. Use the phone record. Like if you're in the office or if you're on the road and you had a really good phone call with somebody, record it as a phone call. And Siri works here. One other change that we made in a lot of fields is there used to be a two-part subject and elaboration where you'd put bigger notes. So you'd have to click on subject, fill out the subject, click on the notes and fill out the notes. We've combined those into one because we feel our text recognition system with your tags eliminates the need to have titles now. So you only have to click into one field and then go ahead and make a note. You can see here the auto tagging. So we have auto tags here, VWC, Nordyne, Amtrol, Part Special, Copeland. And I think you guys know how we do that is we pick it up based on Roger basically mentioning those in his notes. And it auto tags. So that's why we sort of feel like we don't really need the separate two fields anymore. So other things on that list, and there's a couple of changes here. Check-in is normal, just check-in. That's if you're at the contractor's location or out in the field with them. Notes is again notes, and a note can be associated with a meeting, or you can just add a note. And so if you come across somebody at the counter or something, you might use note for that. The scheduling, so you can schedule an appointment. We did do some updates here in that we're using a conventional date picker now because we feel like that's more stable. It wasn't when Rome was first built, which is why we had that kind of weird date picker. But now that's in good shape, and you can make appointments in this environment. There used to be a separate icon to report to us that a company's out of business or they're a duplicate record, and I'm still getting some of those, so you guys are doing a good job with that. Now it's more integrated, so it's on this list. So if you're in a new area, you're working with a new account, and you see that it's out of business or it's a duplicate record, you can report it off this list now, as opposed to having to remember where it was before. Okay, any questions on all of that?
Hey, unrelated kind of question. Do you have anybody, Chris, that question came up from Johnson today down in Houston. Do you have anybody that uses, if they meet a customer at a restaurant, they check in at the restaurant's address?
In the old system, and we're evaluating in the new system, you had the ability to check in at a given address, and then you could attach it to a customer's location.
Okay.
It was kind of a headache. And so my general recommendation, and we do have a couple of people that are using this for mileage reporting now, it may be 2 or 3 or 4 miles off, but just check in at the customer's location and the notes say, met Bob at ABC restaurant for lunch.
Yeah, that's kind of how I explained it to him, but I just want to get your in.
We had a system in the old system and nobody used it because it was like this 3-step process. And at the end of the day, it's a mile or 2 off.
Okay, thank you.
Now I want to go in and look at account detail now. So if I go to B&G HVAC and I click on the I, that brings us into the full account details. Although you can see there are some changes here. history is still there. One big change is you can now edit a note within the app. You didn't used to be able to do this, but now you can. So if you go in and you make a note and you want to add to it, or let's say Siri went in a completely wrong direction, which Siri can do sometimes with background noise, you can go in and edit it. You used to have to be able to edit it later using the desktop version. Now you can edit it here. So that's a big improvement.
Oh, yeah.
That's that little pencil thing next to each note. There's a quick link for calls and notes at the top of the page, but there's something that looks like a touch tone phone pad up in the top right. And if I click that, that brings in the ability to do all of the things that we could do on that quick reference. Okay.
Awesome. Wow. Made some nice improvements.
Yeah, it's more refined. The other thing you'll find is that this will open faster and that the search will be faster. But now I want to show you kind of how it works if we don't have a cell signal. So I'm basically turning my cell processes off by going into airline mode.
Okay.
Now you'll see it change. And what we're doing here is every morning we save your account list to your device. So the first time you open it, we update your account list. And so you still have an account list, but you're offline. So your full account list is here, and you can go in and add a note. Now, Siri doesn't work if you're offline. Good to know. But Siri depends on a data connection to work. But so you have to do it the hard way. You can type it in. But you can type in a note here, and as soon as you get a data signal, it'll come back in. It's pretty cool. So that now I come back in to cell service, and it comes back to the regular display, and anything that you've entered in the interim will be properly placed and tagged. So we think that's a really big improvement for some of you guys that are out in the country. The other big change is schedule. We used to have My Day, and then we had Calendar, and we've combined both of those into a scheduling system. So here, but this is Roger, and this is Roger working with the old app. And this is an important point. You can see that it's fully compatible. So you can work on the old app and the new app, work on one device and then another, and it all locks back together. So you can see all of what Roger's done today. So this is what I've done and what I have yet to do. So if Roger had appointments still this afternoon, they'd be on this list. But what the cool part is that you can also take a look at a week or a month view. If he had calendar events, they would all show in the week and month view.
Pretty accurately plan your travel week ahead.
Yeah, and we still have the auto scheduling system, and we have a major update coming with that. But this would allow you to plan the highlights of your week, and it would all be in this area and integrated with the My Day feature.
Hey, Chris, it's Steve Waldron.
Yes, Steve.
I'm kind of fooling around with this new app, and I'm under accounts. Are those not supposed to be alphabetical?
And this is an important difference. In the new app, you can toggle back and forth between alphabetical and proximity, and it defaults to proximity because this is designed for really ease of use when you're in your car. So when you open the app, you hit My Accounts. If we can find a GPS signal, we will display it based on proximity to you. Now, all you have to do if you want it to be alphabetical is hit that icon above the list that says ABC, and it'll turn it in alphabetical. Okay?
Okay.
Tasks really hasn't been updated a lot, although that's something I think we could talk about integrating more. And the library is still there, front-facing and a lot easier to use. So the library now uses the integrated scrolling system on the phone.
Hey, Chris?
Yeah.
I was going to say, maybe if you could use the library, because I know we've got some guys at different stages, it might be a good refresher.
So basically I just pulled up DuPont. The big changes here is we're using the scroll that's integrated with the device. And again, when we built Roam, we couldn't do that. Now we are. So that's easier to work with. And the other thing we're doing is we're not displaying any model numbers that there aren't associated documents with. In the old one, you could open up a model number that we didn't have an associated document. So if I want to look at Silva 408, and there are documents because it's on the list, we have a service guide for it, and you can dial into it. That library is a much easier to use system than it was before.
Great.
I'm just going to switch to a different device so that you can see locally and I can enter a couple things. So that's an iPad. And in this case, one interesting thing is you can see on the other phone, the check-in bar wasn't there. And now the check-in bar is here because I haven't logged in yet today. If you haven't checked in yet, it'll ask you to check in. And the check-in procedure is similar. So we still have here, you can check in at a predefined address, which is what you guys normally do. You can check in at a current location. In other words, just a place not associated with anything else. Or you can add an address. And most commonly, you're going to check in at a predefined location. So that bar will go away now. So now on accounts, this will pull up, we have a test wholesale record that we have here. So this is based on me where I am. And you can see that this is my account list as this test account. And you can see that I couldn't pick up the location, so it defaulted to an alpha display. So you can see it starts with the A's and just goes down. You can see the red banners are my accounts and the black banners are conditional. But now if I hit this refresh button here, it'll look for the GPS location and probably find it. So now this is a better illustration why I wanted to show you guys, is that now it's designed the way we want it to look when you're out there traveling in your car. So you can see that I'm sitting at Best Heating and Air at 0.0 miles away. And other accounts nearby, I can see Stella Boiler Works is 1.5 miles. So basically, if you open the app and you're sitting near some account, that account will be at the top of the list in location mode, and that's the default. But let's say you're sitting in the office and you want to make a phone call. Hit that link again where it says ABC, and it will turn it into an ABC, an alphanumeric list. So we feel that's a fairly significant improvement. And then I can take notes as I want to. Discussed Linux, they're the competition. One interesting thing is you can see that it misspelled Linux. Have you guys have had to understand with the tags as an alternate spelling system there? You guys have seen that, haven't you, Scott?
The alternate spelling. I'm not
yeah,
sure
like if you wanted train as a note, but Siri always spells train Train, so you can put the alternate spelling in your tags. You can put train Train, comma Trane, and it will tag it as Trane.
Oh, okay. Hey, on that same note, we tracked Venstar thermostats a month or so ago. I think we had the most success with using the model number like T7850 instead of color touch thermostats or whatever. Do you have any suggestions there? Is it numerical better or?
Precise is better. So like one word. If you get into multiple word tags, then people will put them out of order or something will get misspelled more easily. So the model number is great if it's one that kind of rolls. T8750, that works great. Just a simple or a word like preseason. If you put in a tag T8700 Venstar thermostat, if you don't use those exact characters, it won't match.
Okay.
So keep it short. Don't put in only put in the segment that will A, be easy to remember, and B, hopefully something that Siri won't screw up. You can see here it tagged as Linux. Now I'm going to, just to show you how it works in the offline mode, I can switch this to airline mode. So here's my list in airline mode. And I can add a note now. And once you're used to Siri, typing really sucks, but so it added my note, and I can go ahead and add several notes if I want to. But then if I come back in and I have cell, this will come back in and restore. And if I look for the account strong, and I look now in history, you can see my note, and it picked up my tag. See that?
Yeah. Okay.
So that's pretty cool. The other thing I didn't show you when we were here last to see where the address for Strong Plumbing and Heating, 33 Prospect Hill, if I touch that, it'll pull up our mapping. And then I could go turn by turn if I wanted. And we've really tried to make it so that you guys can use this with fewer clicks, less time trying to get to where you need to go. And I think you'll find it to be considerably faster in terms of going from your phone in your pocket to being able to access the data. Give it a try, and don't be shy about suggestions or if you run into headaches.
Well, this looks really good.
I think I think you'll find it to be an improvement. The other big thing that we really like is the conditional accounts. It used to be that if you had a conditional account, let's say you're calling on a new guy, and Scott just hasn't gotten around to permanently assigning them to you. Didn't used to be on my accounts, now it is, and with the black versus red. So that's I think a real big improvement too.
Yeah, that's very helpful.
Yeah.